are we ready?
Did it.
Reek, just watch out because he's got a bat hanger in that truck.
Oh.
All right, when you are ready, and everybody's out of the way. All right, give it 2 good hits. With all your might. One more. Better. That was pretty good. All right, so, the blood.
Knock it out the park.
Chris, you good to go? All right, give it a good swing or 2. All right, and then Reed, you're gonna finish this poor good man off. Okay, and we gotta make sure we're kind of out of the way-ish. All right, Reed, have at it. Make sure you hang on to the mallet.
Hit it.
Keep going. You're doing great.
Keep going.
Yeah, there's an injury there. Okay. You can put it back on the
Oh, I need to get out of here. ASAP. My shoe came off.
Oh, your shoe came off. Okay. All right. All right. Notice all 3 of our people, well, 2 now, have a lot of blood basically on their person. There's quite a bit on the mask. Some of this was old blood, some of it's new. Your leg is pretty new. This over here is all new. So basically that is what they were blocking from the back wall. It hit them instead of hitting the wall. All right, you guys can just take all the get up out. Okay, I'm going to just highlight a few types of projected spatter back here and some other types of blood stains. Let me just kind of grab this to do that. All right. So again, we were looking at our bludgeoning. So this would be an example of bludgeoning, which would be what type of impact, what velocity of impact are we looking at? Medium. Good. What would be an example of low velocity impact? Yeah, blood dripping. So this big giant pool of blood here at the bottom, we can actually even see the drip marks coming off of this pool where the head was. That's an example of low velocity impact. So blood dropping on blood. We've got a lot of blood on this right wall. And most of it, especially if we kind of look at the ones on the edges here, most of it shows a little bit of an elongated shape. What does that elongated shape tell you? Yeah, it hit at an angle. In this case, the angle was coming from the head. And some of these, you can actually see the tail. So again, the tail tells you the direction it's traveling in. So these tell you this is projected stain, and it's going kind of in the upwards to the right direction. If you've got circular, like here on the bottom, we've got some perfect circles. Let me see. I don't know, where's my hand? There we go. A few perfect circles. That tells you blood hit at what angle, what degree. Yeah, 90. Good. On the back here, we've got a lot of impact spatter. Again, medium velocity. We actually have a lot on the ceiling as well. I didn't cover. There's also, and I don't know if you can really see it where you're at, but there's kind of a stretch that goes from the left side to the right side in sort of an arc. When we see this up on the ceiling, what would that likely be from? Yeah, the swing, the actual weapon itself. What would that be called then? Cast off. Awesome. All right, so we've got cast off kind of up on the ceiling. Oops. We've got medium velocity impact on the walls, directions, the tail showing the direction. We've got some passive and low impact spatter on the floor. Okay, so we've got a lot of blood spatter on this back wall. We've got a lot on this right wall. We've got a good amount on the ceiling. We've got a good amount on the ground. We don't have much on the left side. So mentioned before that their coveralls had a lot of blood on it. This left side, what would we call that? Void. Yeah, that's our void. So that tells us a couple things. One, it tells us where the attacker could have been. It could tell us where the victim is. If I was to move the victim's head, there would be a void under it. So it tells you where the victim was when the injury occurred. It tells you where the attacker probably was when the injury occurred. And if we had another something in the way when this was all happening, in fact, I can kind of show you if I lifted up this sheet. You can kind of see where that blank space is because this was covering it. If this top sheet had been moved, that under it is a void. So that tells you that something had been moved. All right, we are missing one other kind of example of blood stains. What would that be called? Actually, we're missing two. One is high impact or high velocity impact. What would cause that? Yeah, gunshot. Awesome. So we're obviously not going to be doing that in class here. Okay, so we're missing the high impact or high velocity impact. And what was the other one? Passive. Passive are just being dripped. So we do actually have a couple examples at the bottom. So yeah, those would fall under passive. If it's blood hitting blood, it would be low impact. So we kind of have that. Ooh, yes, transfer. And we actually have a little bit of it here where you guys were kind of walking after you were in this crime scene. Some of it's from the last class, but you do have a little bit of transfer on the floor here where basically you have smudges as they were walking after committing this crime. They were basically tracking some of that blood around with them. If we were to look on the bat itself, because most of you guys are using the bat, we might see a void there. So a void where, V-O-I-D. The void would be where their hands were. So if we actually looked at the handle of this bat, we would probably see blood missing from part of it because their hands were covering that part. Their hands might have got blood on it, but what was under their hands didn't. So that's one way we could figure out which of these weapons were used. Okay, any questions about this?